A sankalpa is is something that we are kind of a seed we are planting within ourselves that we want to grow over time. So it's an intention that isn't something that happens today or happens in one day, but really a slow process of change or bringing. That's a sound. Let me.
Oh, that is my clock. So
I just muted everybody, so all good. So it's a sankalpa is the word sankalpa means born of the heart over time. So it's those, slow processes that we really work with in our lives to cultivate change on whatever level that we are cultivating. So when we have a sankalpa, when we are working with something that we need to be patient to come to fruition, really the gift is in the process, not so much in the end result. So I wanted to read a little passageway. Of course, I've read this book many times to you all, John O'Donohue, To Bless the Space Between Us. And I think I've read this before as well in class. But I love this. And it's his blessing on for a new beginning. And I think springtime is a good time to cultivate a sankalpa, to kind of think of a seed that you are planting that you want to grow in your mind, in your body, in your life, in whatever aspect that you're working with. So this is called For a New Beginning. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wander, this beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure. Hold nothing back. Learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you. All right, so let's sit up straight and tall. And allow yourself to come into the breath. Grounding yourself. Feeling your shoulders settle and soften. Let that grounded energy travel all the way down to your pelvis. Notice your seat. Are you in a comfortable position? Do you need to shift or change or add support? And just slowly start to listen to the sound of your breathing. The steady cadence. This is your own internal rhythm. The pace, the metronome of how we can move, how we can think. Excuse me. Breath is just this gift of presence. With every exhale, wash some relaxation through your whole body. With every inhale, invite that new beginning. We need both the surge of new energy of the in-breath, and we also need the deep rest and rejuvenation of the exhale. When you're ready, place your hands together at your heart. Bow in. See if you can drop into a deep heart space where these sankalpas often live, not just in the mind, but in the heart as well. So as you bow, feel the head, the heart, the hands, the thinking, the feeling, the doing, all settle together. And plant a seed. What is an intention that you would like to grow within you over time, born from the heart? Let's release the hands and come onto your back. So you might think, what is required to have the capacity to move through and with a sankalpa? And of course, intention and planting that seed is really important, but so is patience, and so is discipline. Often, we can't expect change to just happen to us. We need to be an active participant in our shifting. So what disciplines can you cultivate around your sankalpa? So stretch your arms overhead as they're tending to your seed. Just like if we're starting to plant in the garden, you every day go out and look, do I need to weed? Do I need to water? What's the sun here? What's the pruning? So just like that, see if you can feel into what are the personal disciplines to cultivate your sankalpa. All right, bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit. Let's sway from side to side. Breathing well. All right, let's still the spine a little bit and circle the knees. And the flip side of that discipline, the other side of the coin, is patience. We can't have it all right now. When we plant a seed, we don't get the fruit that day. Sometimes if it's a tree, it takes years to get to fruit. Sometimes if it's a lettuce, it's not so long. But even if it's just a short while, patience is required. And let's open the knees away from each other and bring them back in. So our yoga practice is definitely a tool that we can develop to not only have the intentions and the space to really contemplate sankalpas, but also to develop the skills around patience and discipline to grow. All right, so right knee comes into the chest, give it a good squeeze. Let's rock around our feet, open them up, feel into any wiggles that you can have. And then let's switch sides. Left knee into the chest, right leg long on the floor. Move around your feet, see what it feels like to have some open space. All right, and then release that leg out, starfish out. Spread your wings, fingers and toes, reaching out to the extremities. And then exhale and bring your knees in. Head comes up. A couple of more times. Feel the fullness of this, the spaciousness of spreading your body out, and the compressing, squeezing of tucking your body in. Remember that your breath is your guide. It is your rhythm. It's your metronome. See if you can feel that the breath is guiding your movements and your practice as much as you can. When you're ready, release your head down, arms straight out to the sides like a T, feet down onto the ground, and let's just rock our knees left and right. Windshield wipering your knees and not only are these gentle warm-ups good for just warming up the body, but it's an opportunity for us to get present and assess. How am I today? What's feeling good? What's online? What's offline? All right, let's stretch the limbs again. Deep breath. Exhale, knees into the chest and come rolling over onto your side, onto all fours. Okay, so as you find your way onto your mat with your hands and your knees, let's start moving your body. Okay, so cat cows are a beautiful way to begin. Feel into the full movement of your spine. And then feel free to move around in any way that feels good. You can swirl around in your pelvis and do some circles. You can sway from side to side, any kind of movement of the spine. If there's a left-right aspect of it, make sure you take time to do the other side. And then stretch back towards child's pose. Take your knees as close or as far as you would like. Walk the hands forward or not. See what's good for your joints. Breathe into the space. Where is there more space? All right, let's walk our hands over to the left side of the mat and open up the right rib cage. Soften your skull. Find your breath. Okay, over to the other side you go. Stretch and lengthen. Feel some weight drop down into the hips. Relax your skull. Deep breaths. All right, come back up onto all fours. Let's curl the toes under and stretch back towards child's pose on curled under toes. So you may go far, you may not go very far. Just see what your feet are ready for. Touch your inner ankles or your inner feet if you can. Just open up the soles of the feet. And then come back up onto all fours. Just smack the top of your feet a couple times on the ground. One more time through a cat-cow. And then let's take our morning twist. Reach that arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that arm underneath, threading the needle. Feel into the back body stretch. Organize your pelvis. So, it might be that you want to shift your hips way off to the side. See what it feels like to ground. And then unwind this posture a little bit. Face the floor. So your shoulders are broad, your collarbones are broad. So we're stretching the backside of the shoulder joint now. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way back up. And the hand comes down onto the ground. Second side, arm lifting. Exhale, slide that shoulder down and under. Gaze toward the floor. Breathing deeply. How does it feel in your spine? How does it feel in your lungs? What does your breath feel like here? And then come out a bit, face the floor with your chest, broad collarbones, drop back a bit like child's pose. Stretching the backside of the shoulder. And then rise up, reaching that arm to the sky, hand comes down. All right, let's find our way to dog pose. So stretch on up, pedal your feet, maybe drop one heel, then drop the other heel, maybe bending a knee or lifting a hip. Just find any movement that feels right for your body. And then breathe into the length of this pose. So root through hands and feet, rise up through your spine and feel the beautiful space and length in your body. Where do you need more structural support? Do you need to yield and ground a little bit more? Do you need to hug your hands toward each other? Do you need to bend your knees at all? Just find some experiment with how you stabilize so your weight is not all in your shoulders. Then discover your breathing.
All right, walk your feet forward, come into Uttanasana, bend your knees, shake your shoulders, your head, your tail. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine grows longer. Exhale and melt.
Rise on up, reaching the arms to the sky, opening up your chest, maybe lean back a little bit, see what that feels like. Open the heart, maybe cactus the arms. And then release your hands down to next to your side. Shake out your hands for a moment. Just enjoy a little bit of looseness through your fingers, your wrists. All right, and then deep breath in, rise up, open the chest, cactus the arms one more time. Squeeze those shoulder blades and reach them down. Okay, take your feet a little bit wider, like maybe to the edges of the mat. And we're gonna come to a squat, okay? So you can even have your legs a little wider than that. Elbows inside your knees. Open up through your chest and feel your heart expand. Reach your left arm straight out in front of you and your right arm behind you. And see if you can stabilize here. If this is too much, bring your arm out to the side instead of overhead. Finding the breath, squat deep, not so deep that you drop your hips down, in line with the knees, and then change your arms. Feel the work across the back body. Stabilize through your core, finding breath. And then two hands out in front if you can manage it, otherwise out to the sides or back, your choice. Okay. And then rise all the way up, arms coming up and wide. Heel toe your feet a little bit closer in and fold forward. Uttanasana.
And relax the head, breathing deeply, soften the knees as much as you need. Inhale for a halfway lift. The spine gets a little longer and taller. Thigh bones stay back. Stretch the backs of your knees. Lift your sit bones. Stay here for a moment. Breathe here for a moment. Feel into the bottom of your feet. Let them spread out well. And then as you're ready, exhale and fold forward. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Grab onto your head behind, with your hands behind your head, right at the base, and just a slight tuck of the chin toward the chest. Let the back of your neck, the spine open up. And then release that. Halfway lift one more time. Sit bones high, thigh bones back, spread open the feet, and then relax and melt. Step your left foot back. Right foot comes forward, finding a lunge on this side. Let's plant the knee down if you're comfy with that. And just open up through the chest a little bit. Feel the hip flexor stretch. Take a moment to discover your breathing again. One of the most beautiful aspects of our practice is just presence in our body. So enjoy the stretch. Let's lift the knee up off the ground. We're going to come back and forth, bending and straightening the front knee. So remember your internal metronome, that sound of your breath. Maybe even close your eyes so your senses are really attuning to listening to the sound of your breathing. The more we can come long and smooth with the breath, the more patience we can develop. It really is a gift to breathe slowly. Drop weight into the legs now, and we're gonna rise up. Your arms could stay down, your arms could come up, your arms could be anywhere that serves. Okay, so breathe your way here. No matter what you are doing with your arms, open the chest. Full breathing. Exhale, release the hands back down. Back foot comes forward again. Fold. Halfway lift. Spine grows. Exhale. And melt again. Step the right foot back. Left foot stays forward, finding a lunge. And then when you're ready, place that knee down onto the ground. Now you might have your hands on blocks or the floor. You can even bring your hands upwards so you kind of find where your body is most comfortable. Breathing well. And then we're going to lift that knee up off the ground, and we'll start to bend and straighten the front leg a little bit. Feel free to tuck the chin toward the chest when you straighten your leg. Try not to round the spine a whole lot, but we want to feel this travel through the back line of the body. Sometimes tucking our chin a bit can just help us get the whole back line to open up. All right, let's pause in our lunge. Find your legs, ground yourself. And then as you're ready, go ahead and rise up. Maybe the arms come to the sky. Maybe they're somewhere else. Be where you are. Breathing deeply. Maybe you want to cactus, open the arms. Maybe you want to have your hands on your hips. So wherever you end up, let yourself ground through your legs. Feel that you're not overarching your lumbar spine. Wake up the glutes, press that front heel. And then hands come down onto the ground and step your front foot back. Feel into dog pose. Find your breathing. Big inhale. Big exhale. All right, and then let's find our way forward into a plank and feel yourself stabilize through the core of your body. Shoulders are away from the ears. Notice where the weight of your hand goes. Ground through the four corners of your hands. Lift the inner thighs toward the sky, so a slight inner spiral of the thighs. The core is engaged, but we're still breathing well. All right, as you're ready, go ahead and find your way to the floor. Roll your shoulders here a few times up toward ears, up toward the sky and down. Just open things up. As you're ready, Cobra Pose. Chest broad, legs strong. Exhale and melt back down. Reach into the legs, open your breath. And exhale and melt again. This time we're going to do this with no hands. So start to work the back body a little bit more. Shoulders away from the ears, elbows pull back. We're lifting up, but our hands are just hovering off the ground. Find your breath. And then relax and melt. Come up onto all fours. Move your spine about. Roll around in your shoulders or in your sides or your hips. Just let everything relax. Curl your toes under and find your way back to dog pose. Big breath here. Okay, then we're going to walk our feet forward. One more time, Uttanasana. And then drop your seat and rise on up. All right, so stand in Tadasana and just take stock. Here we are warmed up. See if you have allowed yourself to touch in your awareness to all parts of your body. And then let's just practice yielding for a moment here in Tadasana. So close your eyes if you can. Ground your feet. See what it feels like to stabilize into the earth without pushing or collapsing. We're just in this sense of melting into the earth, soft knees. Let your breath travel down to the pelvic floor. All right, inhale. Reach the arms up, touch your toes together, and come into a chair pose. Now, if you know you like a block, you can always take a block between your thighs for this posture. Okay, so that's very stabilizing for the knee joints. If you have a knee issue, this is a nice way of doing the practice. You can have your arms out to the side, down, palms together. Choose your pathway that's right for your breath and body. Ground through your feet. Weight comes back into the heels and start to turn on. Flood your thighs with a lot of blood flow. Feel the fullness of effort. Breathing well. Steady that pace of breath again. Discipline and patience. In yoga, one of the 8 limbs of yoga, the niyamas, which are kind of like the personal disciplines to help us along our way. One of them is tapas, which is the ability to be
within difficult sensation in the service of transformation. So this is really often what we need to open our seeds up. We got to crack some stuff open, right? So if we're developing something, we got to learn to sit in the fire sometimes. And stand up straight, reaching the arms up to the sky, open your chest, lean back a little bit if it feels nice, and then fold forward. Take that block out of there if you had it in there. Okay, take your legs wider. So actually turn sideways on your mat so that you can take a nice wide-legged stance. Put your hands on blocks or the floor and enjoy all the space. So your pelvic floor has more room, your breath has more room. There's lots of space in your body when your legs are broad. So let's feel into that. Come as low down as you want. Try not to lean back into the knees. Have your shins move forward slightly and your thigh bones move back slightly. So there's a crossing point at the knee joint that doesn't allow you to hyperextend. Relax your neck. All right, and then we're going to bend our knees here. So you might want to come in just a little bit. You might want to turn your toes out just a little bit. And we're going to come into a wider, deeper squat. So I'm going to hold my feet and press my elbows against my shins to open things up. You may want to have your elbows on top of your knees. So take the pathway that works for you. Drop your hips so that your sit bones are in line with your knees, and then widen the sit bones. Let your inner thighs open up. And then turn your feet straight again. One more time, coming into Vajrayana. So you can hold your feet, you can put your hands on the floor in between your legs or on blocks. And we're going to find a twist here. So bring your hands forward. Hands can be on blocks or the ground. Left hand is in the center, right arm is going to come up. If this is more comfortable with your hand on your hip, take your hand on your hip. Stabilize your pelvis. We're going to meet the resistance across our thoracic spine. Breathe into that. And then come back slowly, other side. Maybe the arm comes up in the air. Maybe the hand is on the hip. Your choice. Okay. And then we're going to come back. We're going to drop our weight deeply into our right knee. So we're bending as deep as our body will allow, stretching your left leg straight. So opening up the inner thighs a slightly different way here. Notice if your knee likes to hyperextend, have a little support there, internal support. And then we're going to come back over to the other side, walk the other way. If your knee doesn't deeply bend, that's okay. Just go where you go. My toes, with your straight leg, toes can be up in the air. Be mindful to not hyperextend your knee. Open your chest. How's the breath? And then we're going to come back one more time. A big squat, but we're going to start lifting our torso upright. Bring your hands onto your knees. So still can be slightly leaning forward. We're slowly getting ourselves there. And then find a more upright posture. You can stay low. Maybe you want to lift out of the lunge or the squat a little bit so that your body can be upright. So you be where you are. Now, if you're able, ground your feet and lift your arms overhead. If this is too much, bring them somewhere else, out to the sides, or keep them down. Or maybe your hands to your heart. So find a passageway. Relax into the breath. Tapas, a little discipline, a little zeal, but there's ease in the exhales. Find that balance of effort and ease. Okay, and then we're going to climb on up, straighten your legs. We're going to find a flow here through some of the movements we've already done. So if your knees don't like a lot of lunging or bending, this can be your avenue, just right up in here. But if you have a little bit more to give, go a little lower. Now you can do anything you want. You can have like a big circle with your arms, where you're kind of circling up, or you can just kind of swing to the side. Let your body tell you what it wants here. Just a word of caution, don't make this about your back where you're doing this, where your legs stay straight and your spine is doing the swirling. Let your leg ground yourself. Go as low as your knees and pelvis can support. And just flowing your weight one way
over to the other side. Okay, and you decide the pathway. How's the breath? Ground your energy. And then come into a centered place when you're ready. All right, stand up straight. Turn your feet a little bit forward so they're, pointing to the side of the mat, long side of the mat. Take a deep breath and stretch up and over to the side. Use support with your hand on your leg. Use your core. And then we're going to come up and over to the other side. Finding the breath. Okay, now let's turn this into partial Uttanasana. Turn right toes out. Bend your knee. Maybe elbow comes on the knee. Maybe hand comes on a block. Round your legs. So feel your roots. Notice where your pelvis is in space. Do you want to take the top of the thigh back? Do you want to turn the hip a little bit? So find the pathway that's nice and gentle for your sacrum and your SI joints. Relax your neck. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Is the weight grounded evenly in both your feet? Okay, let's rise on up. Same pose, second side. Turn your feet to the left. So remember, I try to mention this periodically. If you need support in lunging because of your knee, you can always take a block against a wall or a piece of furniture like this at your shin so that you have some support. Okay, so it's that you don't always have to be weight bearing fully into your joints if you have a joint that needs some extra care. So try not to just skip a pose if there's a way to do a pose with support that helps you. Ground evenly, 2 feet, soft neck. Breathe your way here. All right, and then let's find our way back up. Deep breath, arms coming to the sky. Goddess pose one more time. Try to be upright. From here, hand down, stretch over to the side. Come back up. Exhale, over to the other side. Come back, 2 arms to the sky. And then come up to stand. Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. So turn your right foot out, take a breath, bring your arms out to the side and find your way. Now, if this pose feels better with your hands somewhere else, then do that. If this pose feels better with your knee less bent, then do that. Try not to cave your knee in. So we want to prevent this from happening where our knee caves in. Track the knee in line with the ankle and the sit bone. Finding breath. In order to make that happen, perhaps you need to turn your back hip toward the front knee a little bit more. All right, let's come back up to stand. Now, if you notice that you had to turn your hip a fair amount, try to remember that your chest follows your pelvis. So if you're in the pose, when we come to the second side, when you come into the pose, and your hip needs to turn a fair amount, make sure your torso is turning the same amount. So we don't want to have a twist in the torso. So follow the pathways from the ground up. Find your breath. Bend your knee to a place that's happy. Heel, knee, and sit bone line up. If you need to turn the back hip in a little bit toward the front knee, that's okay. Just follow with the chest, wherever you end up. Even weight through your 2 feet. Relax the shoulders. Think of that tapas, the ability to hold and be present for strong sensation in the service of transformation. We don't get anywhere far without a little discipline, right? Without a little patience. And then let's rise back up. Turn your feet straight. And let's come into Pasrita. So you can put your hands on blocks. You can put your hands on the ground. Whatever feels good for your body. All right, turn back to the front of your mat for dog pose. Okay, so take those feet back, hip width apart. Maybe you want your feet wider or more narrow. Round through the four corners of your hands. Yield into the earth and then push off the earth. Deep breaths here and melt the neck. All right, let's come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrating into the core. Feeling stable. All right, place your knees down onto the ground and find the earth. Bring your arms back next to you. So your hands are facing the floor, palms are facing the floor, arms are down at your sides. Take a deep breath in. Let's lift everything up. Feel the work here. Feel the back body. Engage your core to support. Neck is long. And then exhale and relax. Put your hands underneath your head for a moment. Lift your feet up and rock your feet left and right. All right, let's relax our legs down. Bring your arms overhead if you're able. And we're going to lift the right arm and the left leg. So feel that integrity as you cross the line of your body. Keep the neck long. Exhale and melt. Change sides. Keep the breath going. Keep the neck long. Exhale and melt. Now we're going to lift everything up and move this quicker. Okay. Try not to think too much. Feel into the support. If you're going to be thinking with your mind in your body, put it in your core and let your limbs just do their cross hemisphere work. Neck is long. Use your glutes. All right, and then exhale and relax. Turn your head one way or the other. Pick your feet up and rock your feet left and right. All right, come up onto all fours. Move the spine about. Feeling good. And then as you're ready, compress back to child's pose. And after doing those standing poses, feel how nice it is to compress into your legs. All right, let's go ahead and find our way up. Perhaps move through dog pose and walk forward. Perhaps just come up to stand. Now we've been down for a bit, so if you get dizzy, take a moment to get yourself oriented. You can always squeeze to the midline if you need. We're going to find some balance here. So pause in Tadasana, let yourself orient again into that yielding. Feel the soles of your feet drop into the earth. Long, steady breath. Listen to the sound of your breathing. Stand our weight into our right foot and bring your left foot up into tree pose. So, hopefully your hips are nice and open after what we've already done. But you don't have to have your foot high like mine is. Your foot can be at your ankle. Full breaths. If you're able, bring your arms overhead. Try not to hold your breath or grip your neck. Soften your tongue and jaw and eyes. Who cares if you fall? It's just a matter of finding your way into softness and discipline simultaneously. Slowly bring our leg down to the ground. We're going to move into the second side. So root your left foot. Remember, your toes can be all the way down. Your toes can be even touching the floor. Your foot can be at your ankle or calf somewhere, or you can lift it higher. And no matter what you're doing with your bent leg, the standing leg, your left leg, hug the hip in, soften the knee. We're not locking out the knee. So shin slightly forward, thigh slightly back. When you're ready, you can bring the arms up or out or wherever you want. As you open up the knee toward the wall behind you, try not to let your torso turn in that direction. Soften the neck, the eyes, the gaze, the jaw, the tongue. Come into your breath. Even if it's unsteady, see what you can do to smooth things out, to let go of tension, hold yourself with discipline and ease. All right, go ahead and relax. Bring your foot down onto the ground. Enjoy the weight evening out. Find your breath. One more time through vinyasa here. So lift open, arms up overhead, exhale, fold forward. Whatever foot you don't usually take back, in a moment, that's going to be the foot we take back. But first, inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt. Non-dominant foot back, come into dog pose. Long spine. Yield into four corners of hands, cross toe bends. Find your full breath. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Integrating into the center. Next exhale, lower yourself down to the ground. Take a deep breath in. Open up through a back bend, cobra, or any pose you want. And then melt and fold. We're going to come back up onto all fours. Take your time. Find a little movement of the spine. And then eventually we're going to find our way onto our right side. So lie on your side. You can support your head with your arm, or you can stick a blanket or a block in there. We're going to pick up our left knee and bring it high toward the chest and hold on to the front of the ankle. And then stretch back. If you can't reach this, you can always use a strap around your foot. All right, so just stretch into your quadriceps here. Stabilize your core. Feel that your pelvis is neutral and not arching the back. If you need a little more stabilization, you can always press your right leg into the ground a bit to help you stabilize your body. All right, and then relax and come onto your back. Pause here for a moment for a breath, and then we're going to go and bring ourselves over to the other side. So left, lying on your left now, support underneath your head if you need it. The knees are bent, and we're going to bend the right knee even more up to the chest, grab onto the front of your ankle, and then stretch your knee back. So we're stable here through our torso. We're stacked shoulder over shoulder, hip over hip, and we're integrating the core into the pose. So our tailbone is toward our knees and our pubic bone is toward our belly button. Find a little bit of stability through the pelvis and core. So open up the quadriceps. Breathing well. All right, relax. Let go of that. Come on to your back for a moment. Pause here. Feet on the floor. Just rest your body. Lift up your hips and scoot your hips over to the right. Knees come up and drop them left. You might need a strap for this. Let's just see how it goes. So starting out in a simple twist, turn your head to the right as your knees go left. Now you could just stay here if this is super enjoyable to you, or keep your knees together, straighten your right leg and grab onto your right big toe or grab onto your pants or around your right calf. You can always use a strap around your foot if you need it. Move your hip away from your shoulder, a little inner spiral of that thigh, the right thigh. Melt into the sound of your breath. Bear weight and let your heaviness of your spine and head drop into the earth. And release. Come out of there. Come to lie down on your spine again, so neutral on your back. Take a couple of breaths here and just notice how that pose treated your back. So you want to make sure you're in a happy place with your spine, especially when twisting. So we're going to lift our hips to the left a couple of inches, bring your knees up toward your chest and drop them over to the right. If it's too far, you can always stick a block underneath your shin. Just allow yourself to breathe into the openness of the pose. Turn your head if it feels nice. Full breaths in, full breaths out. Now, once you're ready, if you want to straighten that top leg, left leg straightens, grab onto the left big toe with the right fingers or hold on to your pants or your calf, round your leg somewhere. You can use a strap if need be. Breathing deeply. All right, let's go ahead and find our way. Come back onto your back. A neutral spine again, just feel into that ease. Feet are flat on the ground, relax. All right, let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up to sit. I like to do this pose sitting on the edge of a blanket. I think it helps to keep the pelvis in a neutral position, so if you have that, try it. Right leg is going to be straight. We're going to bend our left knee into Shavasana. If your knee needs support, you can always put a block underneath your knee. Okay? So find the pathway that works for your body. A strap is a really great thing. So let me just open up my strap. When you use a strap, it's for a purpose, right? We want the spine to stay long in this pose. So it's so easy to round the spine, to kind of roll back on the sacrum and to kind of drop our head. And this is what we want to avoid. We don't want to compress our vertebrae and squeeze out the jelly of our discs behind us, right? So keep the spine long and spacious. Ground your leg from the hip on down into the earth. Square your chest toward your straight leg, toward your right leg. So there's a teeny little bit of a twist in here. And then we're going to come forward. Okay, so you can use the strap as a little bit of leverage to help you lift the spine. If you're not using a strap, even your hands on the ground can do that. If you kind of pull the hands toward you a little bit, it'll give you that support. So we want to have a long spine, but we don't want to grip our back body. We're trying to lengthen. So have a little bit of ease, and then to create a little more ease, once you have a good placement, tuck your chin toward your chest. Kneecap and toes are pointing to the sky. Quadricep is engaged. All right, lift on up. We're going to take that leg and open it out to the side. All right, so hopefully all that work we did in the inner thighs earlier will have prepared us for this. Open up and extend over. Now imagine
you have a sandbag right at the top of your right thigh or your left thigh, because our right leg is out. So left thigh grounding, reach up through your spine. Arm might follow, or maybe you keep your hand down, your choice. Breathing here. Try not to overtax the spine. Use your core to support. And then come back up. Bring that leg forward again. And let's change sides. If you need a block underneath your knee, take that, or a blanket, whatever you need. If your knee is comfortable, you don't need to support it. Being up on the edge of a blanket will tip the pelvis into a slight anterior tilt, which helps because our tendency is to roll into a posterior tilt. Wrap the strap around your foot, lift through your spine, ground the femur bone. Feel the foot flex so that the full back of your leg stretches. Engage your quad. Turn your torso toward your straight leg so there's a baby little twist in here, and find the length. Once you get to your set point where you're like, okay, this is where my body stops, then tuck your chin without rounding and collapsing the spine. See if you can keep the length, ground the femur bone, and draw the chin toward the chest. How is the breath? Is there something to melt? Come back up, bring the leg out to the side. Adjust anything that needs adjusting. And then maybe the arm comes up. Maybe you prefer to keep your hand on your thigh. Either way, imagine weight right at the hip crease of that right thigh. Your right thigh hip crease has some weight bearing down, so that when you lift away from that, it's anchored. Feel your left knee cap face right up toward the sky. Flex your toes. Breathe into the space of your side body and use your core to support that side body, to support your vertebrae. Relax your neck. You might notice, oh, I'm so much more flexible on one side than the other. And this is just good information. Notice the patterns of your movement and how they land in your body. And then release, come back, center. Final pose here before we kind of rest for Shavasana. Spread your legs wide. Hands can stay behind you, and you can also come forward. So, you might take a block with elbows on it to rest your head on your hands. Maybe you have some other idea of support. Maybe you stay upright and have your hands be at back. So find your pathway. We're not straining the inner knees or the sit bones, so we want to back off our intensity of attachment site stretching. Feel it in the belly. Ground your thighs. Tip the pelvis forward a little bit and lengthen your spine. How is your breath? And we're going to come out of there as you're ready. And let's lie on our back, bring our knees to our chest, and just allow some ease, some rocking, some breathing. Perhaps a happy baby pose, perhaps knees just stay in the chest. Perhaps you bring your knees over onto your forehead, or a Shavasana. Find whatever works for your body. And eventually, when you're ready, after you kind of figure yourself out, kind of work out the kinks in whatever way they need working, we're going to find Shavasana. So as you lie down, it's possible that a slight little supported bridge might feel really nice for the first 4 or 5 breaths, just to get the pelvis. If you did kind of roll the pelvis in those forward folds at all, sometimes a supported low bridge can be a nice feeling as you enter into Shavasana.
All right, so allow yourself to rest.
If we are working toward change, growth, we need dormancy at times, and for sure we need rest all the time, regular periods of rest. Shavasana is a gift. So allow yourself to receive. Allow the earth to support you, hold you. Melt and ease your body, all your limbs heavy, including your head. Softness in the underbelly, so the eyes, the jaw, the tongue, the throat, the belly, the pelvis, all your soft places, let them melt. Enjoy the ease of breathing. Let's begin to deepen our breath again. Feel into the deep, full breath. Give yourself the gift. A full exhale. Let's bring movement into the body. As you're ready, your movements can become bigger, broader. Find your way onto your side. Come up to sit. Place your hands together at your heart and let's offer. The more we develop our own well-being, the more we have to give. Namaste. Thank you.